And I'm back. Wow. Oh, hello world. Hello YouTube land. This was a nice surprise. The infamous Iron Man number 9, which I purchased at the comic book shop. I was making a bit of a twit out of myself because I said to the guy at the counter, this is bound to be terrible. This is bound to be a social justice warrior comic book. It's got Brian Michael Bendis and this character here that everybody on the internet's been slagging off and saying that should be a villain because she's so unlikable. So I'm going to buy this comic book and just, I don't know, go on the internet and complain about how terrible it is. But I read the comic book and it's good. It's very, very good. The character everyone's slagging off on the internet plays a background role in the story. It's not about her. The infamous Iron Man is actually Victor Von Doom. So I know it's a bit misleading and a bit confusing, but if you read the comic book, it's quite easy to pick up and it's quite easy to follow. Very easy to follow actually. So the comic book is not about the Iron Girl. It's not about Iron Man. It's about Victor Von Doom, and it's about the Fantastic Four. And as Tony Stark, though, he's in the future. So he has that tiny little role. It's almost like a Mark Hamill role, in the latest Star Wars movie. And talking about that Star Wars movie, there's no comparison between the Mary Sue character in that movie and Riri Williams. That Mary Sue character in Star Wars: The Force Awakens, she was too perfect. People have said this over and over again. We know, the problem with that character. There was no arc. She was perfect at the beginning. I don't get that sense with Riri Williams. She's a bit player. She's kind of in awe of all the big characters that are around her. Big things are going on, and she's not at the centre of it. She's learning. So there's going to be an arc there. And it's really good writing because you can really start to dislike a character if you feel that she's getting too much attention and she hasn't earned it yet. And what Bendis is doing with this comic book is probably putting her in the background and saying, right, she's a rookie, she's learning, she hasn't earned the attention yet. And in one of the main scenes in the book that involves her, where she's getting congratulated for capturing Von Doom, she says, why? What did I do? He fell over in front of me. So she's confused. She's not an arrogant little snob who thinks she's better than everybody else. She's just a newbie, a rookie, and she sort of flies off there. And the story continues without her. She's just in the periphery, And it's all about Von Doom and his mother, who's a fascinating character in her own right. She really is. Probably because I haven't read a story about his mum before, and when she appears, I'm not going to do any spoilers. There's some really gorgeous colouring that goes along with it. So the book, infamous Iron Man number 9, about Victor Von Doom. There's no social justice in it. There's no patriarchy, white guilt, identity politics, feminism, Marxism, all that, socialism, progressivism, let's have a go at Donald Trump, he's a racist. And there's one mention of Hitler, but they just mention it as an example of a bad guy. Okay, it would be nice if they used Stalin instead, a lefty dictator who obviously killed much more people than Hitler, and yeah, we all know this, right? So they got that little mention of Hitler as the bad guy. Apart from that, it's almost and Hitler was a bad guy, come on, but this constant Hitler stuff all the time. It would be nice if they replaced the Hitler stuff with Stalin, because it's the left which wants the worldwide dictatorship of the proletariat, meaning an animal farm worldwide with pigs on top and everybody else in internment camps. So it would be nice if that was pressed a little bit more in mainstream culture, that someone like Stalin and the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, that's 100 times worse than what the Nazis did. Just because Hollywood isn't making these movies about it, it's no excuse for not knowing about it. There are books you can read about this stuff. And there's the internet. You can learn about the Red Terror and all that stuff. There's no excuse. Hitler wasn't the centre of evil. Hitler isn't Satan. If there is a Satan on Earth, it was Joseph Stalin, not Hitler. So, wow, that's a bit of a rant, wasn't it? But back to the comic book. It's an excellent comic book. The artwork, which started off a bit washed out, gets better, and I really enjoyed it. as it went on. No problems with the artwork, very, very good. No problems with the character. Actually starting to feel some interest in Riri Williams. Of course, I can see there's going to be an arc where she learns what's going on in the wider universe, and her role as a hero. And Victor Von Doom and his mum, interesting. Ben Grimm and Johnny Storm, their relationship, and Reed Williams is, sorry, Reed Williams, Reed Richards, where is he? There's lots of questions going on there, so there's intrigue, and not everything's clear at the moment. So it's just a very interesting comic book with well drawn characters, and I mean well drawn, both well written and well rendered within the comic book pages. Just a very, very good comic book, which I'll probably give let me think, something like a 9 out of 10. It's surprisingly good, a lot better than I anticipated. And when I go back to the comic book shop next week, I'm going to say to the guy at the till, that was a good comic book, and I was a bit of a twat last week, wasn't I? Just assuming it's going to be terrible before I even read it. So I'm glad that I bought this comic book. 9 out of 10. In infamous Iron Man, or should be called the infamous Doctor Doom, really. A very good comic book, which I fully recommend. So that's it. That's my review. I'm a very happy boy. I read a comic book which I thought would be terrible. It wasn't terrible. It was good. And hey, what else could you ask for? So thanks for checking out my video. Don't obey the silly hat. And buy the comic book. It's really good. I'll see you later. Goodbye.